Congratulations and welcome to the world of Mac. You've just switched over from Windows and people told you that it would be intuitive, but it super isn't. Don't worry, I have helped a ton of people make this switch, and over the years I've narrowed it down to the top 12 things that you need to know or change in the Mac in order to feel at home. My original Windows to Mac video that I released in 2017 got over 1 million views, hopefully changed 1 million lives, and I've only just now stopped procrastinating on the remake. I promise it is worth your time. When you have done all these things I'm going to show you, your life will be dramatically better. And you don't need to stress about taking notes. Just head to macinhome.com/windows and you can grab a free PDF that has all of the shortcuts in one PDF. Right-click on your mouse in Windows gives you all kinds of helpful options and very specific control over whatever you are right-clicking. The Mac has that as well, it's just kind of hidden. On Mac laptops, you just move your mouse, use the trackpad, move your cursor to the thing you want to right-click, and press 2 fingers down on the trackpad and you get that same kind of, it's called a contextual menu. You can open an app, you can open with different programs, you can move to trash, get info, rename, a whole bunch of stuff. If you have a Mac with an Apple Magic Mouse, for whatever reason, the right click is turned off by default, so you have to go turn it on. Just go to the Apple menu and then go to System Settings and then go down the left to Mouse down at the bottom here. And secondary click is the thing you want. And this is, like I said, for whatever reason, I don't know why, this is off by default. Just click on that and say click right side for the secondary click. And now you've got the left click, right click on that magic mouse. If you want to change the settings for the trackpad second click, there are a couple of cool options. If you just go into System Settings and then Trackpad and then go to Secondary Click, you can change it. Instead of click with 2 fingers, it could be click in the bottom right or click in the bottom left corner. That is your preference. So go forth and right-click all kinds of things and experiment. Right-click the desktop, right-click different kinds of files. You'll see you get lots of great, helpful info. When you want to close a program in Windows, if you want to quit a program, you're used to clicking that little X in the top corner of the window. On the Mac, it works pretty differently. That little red X, it does not always quit the program, it just closes the frontmost window. So if I hit that little X, you'll see it still says Safari up in the top left. I'm still in the Safari program. It just doesn't have any windows open. So what can happen over time is you end up with a whole bunch of apps open and wasting resources and RAM on your Mac. You don't know that they're open. Your Mac slows down and the spinning rainbow beach ball ruins your life. So to avoid all this, I'll show you how to know what's open. You just want to look for the little black dot underneath the different programs on your dock. So when it's got a little black dot under it, that means that that app is open, it's using resources in the background ultimately. And there are a few ways of quitting apps. You could just go into the app and then go to the Safari menu and quit Safari. That method is boring and slow. I prefer Command Q, so on the keyboard you hold down Command and press Q. You can also just right-click the icon on the dock and then choose Quit here. I'll show you my favorite option in the next section about Alt-Tab. But if you have anything that's open in a document, let's say you have in Word a new blank document, blah, 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 and then you go to Quit Word, it will prompt you to save changes, so you don't have to worry about quitting an app and losing unsaved changes. You will be asked to save. In Windows, you were probably used to using Alt-Tab to switch between your open programs and open windows. And maybe you would use Alt-F4 to close or quit programs. The Mac version of this, when you have a bunch of apps open, is you hold down Command on the keyboard and press Tab and just keep holding Command. If you press Tab a few times, you'll see the focus kind of moves along as you're pressing Tab. You can also move your mouse to go to the different app that you want to get to. When you click on it or when you let go of Command, it will bring that app to the foreground. So it's a really good, quick way to switch between open apps. This does not switch between open windows. We'll talk about that in a sec. But a game changer for quitting your programs is just keep holding Command and press Q on the one you want to quit. And you can do that a few times. So you can quit App Store. I want to quit Calendar. You can't quit Finder, it stays open, but quit System Settings, quit Calculator, Notes, and pretty quickly you've freed up a bunch of RAM and your Mac is feeling faster again. Now when you want to see what windows you have open, if you maybe switch over to Microsoft Word, you've got a bunch of documents open at the same time, it's a similar keyboard command. You just hold down Command and it's the key right above Tab. It's the tilde or grav key. When you press that, it switches between the open windows within this application. Another really good shortcut for that is mission control. On a laptop, you just do a 3-finger swipe upwards, and it will show you all the open apps in this program. It will show you other open apps as well. So if I go into Safari, 3-finger swipe up, it'll show me Safari and also the Word documents that I have open. If you don't have the laptop with the trackpad, you can just press the mission control key, which is usually F3 on the Apple keyboard. You just press that and you get mission control. So those are some really good quick ways to switch between your open programs, quit open programs, and move between windows within a program. File Explorer in Windows is awesome, and many people miss this the most when they make the jump over to Mac. The Mac equivalent of File Explorer is the Finder, but man, the Finder needs some customizing before you will like it. When you first open the Finder, it takes you to this crazy, confusing recents place. This is actually, ultimately, it's just a search of your whole hard drive, all your, your documents, your desktop. It's a search of everywhere on your computer where you have opened or worked on or looked at documents recently. And these, if you delete something from here, you are deleting the actual original file. So proceed with caution in here. I'll show you how to change this later on so that it doesn't open to recents when you first click on the Finder. But one of the first and most important changes I make in the Finder is I turn on the path bar. So you just go to View and then Show Path Bar. And this gives you the exact file, the location of the file. It's the breadcrumbs of where this file is. You can do a lot with this path bar. If I go into maybe Documents and I go into Finance and Financial Records, 2024, I'm deeper in the file system here. You can drag something out backwards in the file hierarchy down to Finance. You can double click this and it takes you back to there. You really reclaim a lot of the sort of moving around in the system type stuff that you had in File Explorer. I'm going to undo that move of that document. I also always turn on the status bar. So if you go View and then Show Status Bar, this gives you just a bit of info about the contents of this window, how many items, and this is the amount of free space that you have on your hard drive. So I'm looking at the hard drive, that's the amount of free space here. If I go into iCloud Drive, and it shows this is iCloud Drive, and this shows me the amount of free space in iCloud. So you get a little bit more sort of nitty-gritty detail. The sidebar down the left here is super useful, and you can really customize this to your liking. These are all shortcuts. These are shortcuts to get where you want to go a little faster. You can remove things just by right-clicking and then remove from sidebar. You can add things to this. I'll talk about that a little bit later in this video. But if you go to the Finder menu and then Settings, and then you go to Sidebar up here, you get a bunch of options for things that you can turn on or off in the sidebar. The different view modes and options in the Finder are really useful, really good to know. They're just across the top. You've got icon view, list view, and column view. I don't really use this one as much. I don't remember what it's called, but I think it's more for photographers and designers. But icon view is really good for, an example would be maybe the documents folder. Icon view, you can make things a little bigger to see some previews of the contents of these files. List view, very handy for things like the downloads folder. You want to have that in list view so that it is sorted by the date added. So the things most recently downloaded come up to the top. If you want to see the things downloaded longest ago, you just click that and it will reverse sort it. I added all of these items at 11:56 a.m. today. Anyway, you can sort by size. The biggest stuff jumps to the top. Sort by size again. The smallest stuff goes to the top. Normally, folder sizes are not calculated. Like, it won't show the folder size. I always turn that on so that I can see the size of the contents of this folder. You get there by going to View and then Show View Options. And then just turn this on, this Calculate All Sizes thing. If you turn that off, then the folders end up having the two little dashes, so they don't have a size. As soon as you turn this on, now you can sort the downloads by size, put the biggest stuff at the top, and free up some space if you want to, that kind of thing. Here you can also turn on certain columns, turn off certain columns. You get some good options from this View Options area. Keyboard command for that one is Command J. You can also just right-click the column headers to turn on or off certain columns in list view. I like list view. I spend a good amount of time here. So that's a great one. Saves you a lot of time using this one. Column view is good for documents and moving around within files and folders. If you go into column view, then you can actually use the arrow keys on the keyboard. Just go down, press down a few times, go back up. You can press to the right to go deeper into folders and explore, navigate that way. If you want to rename something, just hit return on the keyboard and type in your name. If you want to delete something, just hold Command on the keyboard and press the delete key, and it will shoot it into the trash. So it's Command delete to do that. If you want to undo that, you just go Command Z to undo. So column view is really good for more organizing, renaming, deleting, seeing things a little more quickly using the arrow keys and the keyboard. So that's an intro to the Finder, but obviously customize it to be more how you want. In Windows, you are used to finding your stuff in My Documents, My Downloads, My Pictures, Desktop, etc. These days you might have some or all of that living in OneDrive. On the Mac, you will find all of that stuff in your Home folder. The way you get there is by going to the Go menu and then Home. And this is sort of like the living room of your Mac. This is where your stuff lives. You've got the desktop, documents, downloads, movies, music, pictures, public. This is how it looks when you don't have things syncing with iCloud or OneDrive. The desktop folder that you see here is where the actual desktop folder lives. The shortcut to the desktop takes you here. If I make a new folder on the desktop and I just did a right click there, and I go test on the desktop, shows up on the actual desktop. If I delete this with Command delete, that one there, it disappears from here. So the actual, where things actually live is in your home folder. You can add the house icon on the left if you just go to Finder, Settings, and then go to Sidebar, and then turn on the check mark for the little house icon. It'll probably have your name here in lowercase. So that's the home folder is where your stuff lives. A curveball, though, here is you might actually have your desktop and documents either syncing through iCloud Drive or syncing through OneDrive. So if you don't see desktop and documents in the home folder, don't panic. That's just because they're being synced. The files do still live in your home folder. I won't unpack that in this video, but we help people with that all the time, one-on-one via phone and screen sharing. So just book a consult with me or someone from my team if you want a hand with that. But the takeaway for this tip is that you'll find the Mac equivalent of the desktop documents in the home folder. Things you want quick access to, I would put them on your desktop. Things that should live in the documents folder, you know, it's the filing cabinet of your Mac. You can put them into documents. Once you've organized the documents, I would set the Finder to go straight to this folder. So if you just go to the Finder menu and then Settings, then under General, New Finder Windows, Show, Documents. So this means when you click that little Finder face here, it's going to take you straight to your Documents folder. I just gave you a whole lot of free time in your life because you're not dealing with that recents thing anymore. And you can tell the Finder to go to the iCloud documents or the OneDrive documents, whatever you want, but it's just direct access to the place that you care about that also syncs with a cloud. In Windows, you can drag stuff onto the taskbar, you can pin stuff on the taskbar for quick access. The Mac version of this for quick access to folders that you use all the time is you can put your favorite folders on the left here in the sidebar, and then they show up. They're always here, even if you have multiple Finder windows, you'll see the sidebar stays the same in all the Finder windows. Especially if it's a folder that's nested deep in a bunch of other folders. If I go Finance, Financial Records, 2024, Invoices, if this is a folder that I use all the time, then I would just go back one to the parent folder of this one, and then just drag this over to the sidebar. You can put it where you want. Pay attention to whether it's the little line divider between the two favorites, or whether you'd be essentially you can move this onto the desktop by just going like that. But if you have the little divider line here and then let go, it makes a shortcut to this folder deep in, nested in these folders. So now I can just click on this and it takes me straight to that folder. Another really good option, same thing, is you can put folders on the dock down in the bottom right. If you use the folder all the time, you just drag this folder down onto the dock. It needs to be in the same section as to the right of this divider here. So it's only in the same section as the trash and the downloads folder. When you see it make a space like this, you just let go, and then it will add this shortcut to the dock down here. This is handy for templates and things like that. If you hold Command and click on one of these, it will reveal that file. It'll open so if we close this, close that, click on the dock, and then hold Command and click on a file, it'll open the enclosing folder and highlight the one that I just Command clicked. So really nice, quick way to get into specific folders, access specific files. If you go into a document, so I have a PDF open, and then maybe move this over to the side, close this window. If I want to know where this document is, just do a right click on the file name of it, and it'll give you this hierarchy. And if I click on the parent folder, it will open that folder and highlight the document that I was just in, that I just asked it to show me. So really nice, easy ways to figure out where was that file. If I want to rename this, I can just hit return on the keyboard and call it test.pdf. You'll see it updated the name of the PDF that's currently open as well. In Windows, you'll see the little up and down arrows in your windows so that you can scroll up or down. You might see the little elevator thingy. On the Mac, those are hidden by default. So if I go into a big folder, you don't actually see the arrows, you don't see the elevator thing. You can turn it on if you want. I'll show you that in a moment, but you just use, on a trackpad, you just do the 2-finger scroll. So you put 2 fingers on the trackpad, you pull it down and it scrolls down. If you go up, scrolls up. If you have multiple windows open, let's say I go File and New Finder Window, and maybe here I've got documents open, move this over to the side. Now if I move the mouse to here and then do the two-finger scroll, this one will scroll. Move the mouse over here, two-finger scroll, then this one will scroll. Same if you have the Apple Magic Mouse, you just slide your finger on the top of the mouse to scroll up or down. If you have a mouse with a wheel, it's the same thing. If you want to get those little side elevator thing on the side working again, just go to System Settings under the Apple menu, and then go to Appearance here, and then where it says Show Scroll Bars, you can just say Always, and then you can easily click and drag on this. If you're used to that, if you like it, you can totally bring it back anytime. In Windows, you can hit the little window expander button in the corner of the window. No, I don't know what it's called. On the Mac, you would think that the equivalent is this green button here that makes the window big, but this green button, I made a whole separate deep dive video on this one. This button ruins lives because this window now has taken over your screen. It actually puts this window into mission control, so that's the thing I talked about earlier in this video where you do the three-finger swipe up on the trackpad, and you see it actually creates this whole second desktop. You can also press the mission control key on your keyboard. But to get out of that, and I would just recommend not using that, especially for the first few months of using your Mac, but a quick way to get out of this is just hit Escape on the keyboard. It'll pop you out of full screen mode. Some really good options for making a window bigger is if you just double click in the sort of empty space in the title bar here. Double click, it will intelligently resize it so that you can see everything. If you want the corners to pop up into the top left, just double click the top left corner, double click the bottom right corner. So that'll make it bigger in a more usable, user-friendly way. One option that I love is you hold the Option key on the keyboard and just drag from one of the corners, and it will proportionally resize the whole window and snug it up nicely in the top left. Snug it up nicely in the top left so that it gives you more working space, but without totally taking over the screen when you hit the green button there. I did a deep dive into the green button thing. I'll put the link now, but I would just avoid that for a while. You're used to finding all of your settings for personalizing, customizing your PC under the Windows menu and then Settings, which was formerly Control Panel. It's the same on the Mac. It's just called System Settings. You find it under the Apple menu and then System Settings, or you can go straight to it from the dock down here. So System Settings, I would just poke around here. It's a friendly place. Just read what it says before doing something. It's got some different categories, different groupings. As of Mac OS Ventura, these got all changed around. So often I'll just do searching in the top left, like if I want, battery settings, I just type battery and it gives me all the different battery related things. So some good options for getting around in the system settings. I do a couple of things right away on every new Mac. I would go into the control center here and just turn on some things up in the top right. One is Bluetooth. I use Bluetooth so much. I have so many Bluetooth devices. I just want this in the menu bar. So I choose Show in Menu Bar. Now it's just always here. If I go to, I use Do Not Disturb a lot as well to mute notifications. Focus, I put this to always show in the menu bar so that I can turn Do Not Disturb on and off really quickly and easily. Sound, I think it's absurd that this is only when sound stuff is active, so I change this to always show in the menu bar, so you've always got your volume up here. One other thing, I like to know the percentage of the battery, so I turn that on. And then the Time Machine backup, when was my last backup, I have that in the menu bar as well, so it will show me the latest backup here in this little menu. It allows me to start the backup if I want to do that. So some things to change right away in the system, but generally it is a safe and happy place to hang out. You can just poke around and try stuff. To launch a program in Windows, you would normally go to the Start menu or the shortcut that's pinned on the taskbar. Maybe you'll go to Search Home. On the Mac, you'll find all those same things. I'll show you where those are. If you go to the Go menu and then go to the Applications folder, keyboard command is Command-Shift-A. That'll take you to, this is where the apps actually live. You know, if you delete something from here, you did uninstall that app. If you go to the Finder, here you click that, and then you click on Applications on the left, it takes you to the same place. So this is where programs actually live. The dock across the bottom, these are shortcuts. You can add things that you want to add down here. You can remove things that you don't need. Like if I don't need the dictionary, I just click and drag it up and pause for a sec and then remove. Or you can right-click something and go to Options and then Remove from the dock. So you can customize it. You can drag things left, move things around a little bit. If there's something in the applications that you want on the dock, you just drag it down, make sure that it opens up a little space for it, and then you let go so that now that's there. Applications that you've used recently are in this little, between these two little dividers here. These are ones that you've opened recently. If you want them to live on the dock and stay on the dock, you just drag it left. Like I use Preview all the time, so I'm going to drag that left over to next to Photos. Word, same thing. I use this one all the time. I'm going to put this over here by Pages. Now, when I open this and then quit the app, if I quit this, it will still stay here. So there's a lot you can do with the dock. The search equivalent on the Mac is this little spotlight guy here in the top right corner, but I use the keyboard command for that. You just hold Command on the keyboard and then press spacebar. And then here you can just type the first few letters of an app and then hit return on the keyboard and it will open immediately. So that's a good quick way to open programs. Like I mentioned, you can delete, uninstall apps. I made a deeper dive video into that. I'll link that now. But most programs on the Mac, you could just go into the Applications folder, maybe Firefox, and then drag it to the trash to delete it. The keyboard command for that is Command-Delete, and it uninstalls the program, and if it has stuff running, it quits it. You would keep your user data because your user data is elsewhere in your home folder, but to actually remove the application, you just drag it to the trash. So uninstalling is pretty easy that way. In terms of antivirus on the Mac, I personally don't like or recommend antivirus on the Mac just because the Mac has SIP built in, System Integrity Protection, and I find antivirus apps are more distracting than beneficial. But that one is personal choice. In Windows, you have Search and you've got Search Home. The Mac equivalent, I just mentioned in the last section, is the spotlight here. You get to it with the keyboard command. You hold down Command and press spacebar. You can do really cool stuff with it. You can do conversions, so you can do 12 miles. It'll tell you how many kilometers that is. You can do 83F. And it'll tell you Celsius conversion, 21C for Celsius to Fahrenheit. You can do 19 ounces, how many kilograms. Like you could really do some quick and handy conversions this way. It does math, so you can do 19 times 35, and then the asterisk is times, / is divide. Once you get the result, then Command-C to copy that, and then you can paste that into the message or document that you're working on, whatever. It's nice because it only copies exactly the 665, so you don't get the junk, the space equals space, or the space afterwards, so it's tight in that sense. It's also really good for revealing where something is, so if I search for calculator, then if I press return, it's going to open the calculator program. If I hold the command key and press return, it's going to reveal where that is. It's going to open a Finder window and show me where that is. So this is really useful for when you want to find a document. You can type for recipe and then go down to soup recipe. Maybe it was this one that I want. Command return. It'll take me straight to where that document lives on my computer. If I search again for a recipe, use the arrow keys to go down, and then if I just hold the command key here, it'll show me where that is. And then I go down, that's not the one I want. No, that's not the one I want. And then, so really a powerful tool for seeing, finding what you want and seeing where things actually live and doing really awesome conversions and math. This one is a problem with only the Mac, and I honestly don't know why it's like this, but if you're in a document and you type, test whatever, want to save the document, Command S, or you go File and then Save, you get this very silly little compressed save dialog. Many people feel very annoyed and very limited by this. You only get a few options for where to save things. You have to click this little button here with the little down arrow. Once you click that, then you get the full expanded kind of save dialog that you're used to from Windows. That little button ruins lives. And any of the shortcuts that you've made in the Finder on the left, they show up here. So this is that shortcut that I made earlier in the video. So it's nice to add the shortcuts, saves you a lot of time, but then you've got to go through the different apps that you use and click that little button. Microsoft Word, so if I open Microsoft Word, make a new document, test whatever, want to save this. Same thing here, it gives me the compressed view, so I have to click this little arrow to choose where I want to save things. Word in particular, it might be trying to send you to OneDrive. It would look like this when you go to try to save something in Word for the first time. So you're going to want to click on my Mac, and then it's going to look like this when you get here. And so then you want to click that little button to expand it, and now it'll remember that when you're going to save documents moving forward. You can save this onto the desktop, and then new document, test 2, then you go save. It'll remember that you like it this way. But yeah, this little button here, it's frustrating. Big time waster. Boom, Mac Epiphany. If you want help from me or someone from my team with any of the more technical aspects of your Mac setup or the migration from Windows to Mac, if you want some one-on-one talking, tutoring, coaching on your journey, your Mac setup journey, we would love to help. Just head to macinhome.com/booking. And if you want that PDF that I mentioned at the start of this video that has all of the shortcuts and tips that I talk about in the video, just head to macinhome.com/Windows. It is a free PDF for the low cost of you giving me your email address. I only send newsletters once every few weeks. And I hate spammers. I hate spammers so much. So I will never sell your email address or abuse that privilege, and you can always unsubscribe at any time. If you found this helpful and you want some private Mac coaching with me or someone from my team, just head to macinhome.com/booking. We work with people all over the world. We'll help you with whatever is on your Mac problems list, and you will never feel judged or shamed for whatever mess you are in. All of these tips written out for you in nice, clear text. What else would it be written in?